Turning Red is a really weird movie, and it's actually kind of bizarre, but it's also really fun. And I don't know how many of you guys have actually been 12 to 13-year-old prepubescent teen girls, but I have. And this movie shows exactly what it's like. Hey guys, I'm Lila, and I cover your favorite animated films and TV shows, and today I'm talking about the 2020 Pixar movie, Turning Red, and discussing how weird this freaking movie is, and also reviewing the movie as a whole and my thoughts on it. Okay, so I know I'm a little late to the party about the movie Turning Red, but to be fair, I didn't have a YouTube channel when it was released, and everyone was complaining about it because they didn't relate to it, and they weren't a girl, and they thought it was bad. So screw everyone else's opinion, and let me talk about mine. So here's basically what happens in the movie. We start off being introduced to Mei Lee and her lovely friends, Abby, Priya, and Miriam. And they're just a big group of awkward 13-year-old girls. And then we meet Devin, the trashy convenience clerk guy. But this scene is so funny because it's literally all my friends coming to me being like, "Oh, look at this one guy I met. He's so dreamy." And I'm just like, this boy right here is the one you like, really? But then we meet some actual men, and they are the four-town boy band group consisting of 5 boys.
And why are they called Four-town if there are 5 of them?
But May had to skedaddle off home to help her mom at the temple. But bruh, I can't believe some parents are actually like this.
That's my little scholar. Today, honor student. Tomorrow, UN Secretary General.
Like, I actually know a lot of my friends' parents who act like this. But then May was doing her homework, and she starts to draw some questionable images. And this is literally what I do all day at school. Like, I always have an arm around my desk, twitching out, making sure that my freaking neighbor doesn't see what I'm drawing. And I'm checking back and forth, making sure that there's no one behind me. And then eventually I'll just be in the zone, and someone's like, "Oh, that's a pretty drawing. Is that anime?" Like, I have the drawings to back it up. But her mom finds all the drawings, and she is pissed. And then we get into the scene that makes me want to shoot myself in the foot. Like, this is the type of scene that I just have to skip over because it physically makes me die inside. And that also happens to be the lucky ducky night that she gets her period. Oh, I mean, she turns into a panda. And she tries to hide it from everyone as long as possible. But her family isn't exactly fazed by the news because it's actually a generational thing. Yes, it's a generational thing to be turned into a huge, fluffy, big panda. Okay. But luckily there is a cure to stopping the period, I mean panda, and they have to do some sort of ritual thing on a day with a full moon. But we have a whole month until then, so May's friends learn about her being a red panda, and then we also learn that Four-town is coming in concert. May then figures out that when she is calm, she's able to control the panda. And then probably the best part of the whole movie, May starts to exploit the fact that she can turn into a panda and starts selling pictures and merchandise to get some cash for the Four-town concert. Like, what a businesswoman, honestly. Like, I would be balling out here in cash if I was as smart as May. So then she has to go to Tyler's birthday party to get the last $100 they need. And after escaping her relatives, she finally ends up there. But that's when we find out Abby actually said the wrong date for the Four-town concert. And it's actually the same day as when May was supposed to do her ritual thing. But her mom finds out that she was exploiting herself, I guess. Dang, that sounds bad. But her mom basically blames all of her friends. Like, girl, that was on May. You can't blame other people for all that. And May doesn't even say anything. She's like, yeah, they totally exploited me. But then we cut to the day of the ritual and the Four-town concert, and May and her family are doing the whole little ritual thing, and it seems kind of painful. But at the last minute, she decides that she wants to keep the panda, and obviously the most important thing on her mind is going to the concert. But she makes up with her friends there, so it's okay. But during that big whole fiasco, May's mom's necklace that was holding her panda actually comes undone. And this girl is absolutely huge in comparison. May ends up finally completely rebelling against her mom, and then they try to do the whole ritual, except for her mom now. But May and her mom actually do have a really cute scene in the bamboo forest. But May ends up keeping her panda spirit it, and her family accepts that. And then they all live happily ever after. Ugh, man, this movie is just so bizarre. And when I first watched it, it felt like the writers at Pixar literally just thought of everything under the sun, and then they were like, okay, let's put all of that together in a movie. I mean, if you told me that at the end of this movie I will be watching a middle school girl fighting this huge panda at a concert, I would have probably not watched this movie. And I just love how none of the middle school girls even question that she can turn into a freaking panda. But now let's get into these characters. Okay, the incredibly awkward and hilarious protagonist of this story is Mei Lee. My girl is an overachiever, and personally I could never really relate to this extent, but she owns it. And I love the fact that she kept switching it up every 5 seconds who she liked, because that's exactly how middle school is. I swear to God, I ran through that whole school and said I liked everyone. And I told everyone too! Like, I could not shut my mouth. But I think overall that Mei is actually a super likable protagonist. And I love how she looks with red hair. And I think the whole point of her having red hair symbolizes the fact that the panda fits her more, obviously, and it isn't something that she should get rid of. But she just looks so good with red hair, come on now. And her mom also looks fire with red hair, look at them! Like, I prefer most of her family with red hair. But in the story, we start to see Mei kind of sort of grow up a bit and stand up to her mom. And her trying to break away from her mom is definitely a huge part of this story, and it's probably the main focus of it all. And it is really nice to see her kind of grow out of being Little Miss Perfect and kind of show her personality more to her mom and feel more comfortable doing it, because she always kind of had to hide a certain part of her personality from her mom because her mom didn't like it, and she could never act like she did with her friends. And it's nice that by the end of the movie her mom kind of accepts her friends. And speaking of her mom, Ming Lee is an insane overprotective parent. I've had to deal with parents like this, and I can't. They exhaust me. Like, at this point, I'm traumatized for Mei, for some of the crap that she had to put up with from her mom. Like, this girl is a helicopter parent. Obviously, Ming does project a lot throughout the movie, and tries to sort of place the same rules that she had as a teenager onto her child. She tries to make sure that Mei is perfect, and honestly, I feel like she's just stressing herself out along the way. But the final member of their immediate family is Mei's dad. And he doesn't really speak in the whole movie, but I think that actually works really well. It sort of makes it that when he does speak, that his lines are even more important and valuable, and whatever he does end up saying, it's actually worth noting. And it all works out really well because he's the one who comforts Mei when she's upset, and he ends up encouraging her to trust her friends and kind of stick with them. And speaking of the queens themselves, the friend group is absolutely hilarious. Like, I swear Priya has some of the best lines.
This sounds like a boy-girl party. Are we allowed to boy-girl party?
And I love that I'm able to relate to this movie so much because I really did not think I was going to. But Mei's friends, aka the friend group that's a gift from God himself, act exactly how my friends did when we were in middle school. And it's so awkward looking back, and it's just embarrassing in general. But I swear I never see movies that are about middle schoolers that are actually accurate about what it's like being a preteen girl. But this movie does not have that problem. But every scene that they're in is freaking hilarious, and I swear I bursted out laughing when I heard this.
What's with her?
What's with your face?
And not to mention Priya being a supportive friend that we all need.
Embarrassment. You need more pads? I brought extra.
I mean, my middle school days were a mess, do not get me wrong, but they were also really fun. Well, at least when I wasn't being left out or in some dumb drama. I feel like I'm glamorizing middle school in my mind right now. I need to stop. Let me just look back at my Snapchat memories to realize what hell it was. But Turning Red is all about the weird, awkward time in a young girl's life called middle school, aka 3 years of hell. Seriously, I don't know one person who likes middle school. And surprise, surprise, if you didn't get it somehow, turning into a red panda actually symbolizes getting your period and going through puberty. And I know a lot of people don't relate to this movie. Half of the world, to be exact. But you know, I don't really care, because there's a lot of movies that I don't relate to. I know that not every single person in the world has the experience of being a 13-year-old girl in a public school, but I do. Not a lot of people have the experience of being a fish in the ocean losing their son, but you don't hear people complaining about that, do you? to. And I found this movie incredibly relatable. And also, I love that May just had a whole ass presentation about why she should go to the Four Town concert, because I swear me and my friend literally made this A to Z list of why we should have a sleepover. And we also did like little break dances for our parents for sleepovers as well. We were like that one dance on Dance Moms that says, "We'll dance for food," except it was like, "We'll dance for a sleepover." But this movie was just relatable and fun, and it doesn't need to be relatable for everyone. That's not how movies work. But before I talk about the mother-daughter relationship in this movie, let me just have a little word about the animation. I kept hearing a lot about this movie when it first came out, and one of the more positive things that I heard was that the animation was really good. And oh my god, the animation is amazing! I mean, the first scene alone gives me whiplash because it's animated so well, and it's actually fun. The animation is fun, it's not boring, and it's very stylized, and I love it. And of course, Pixar has to show off what they could really do during the cooking scene. My jaw literally dropped when I saw that scene. Ugh, Pixar has come so far! But Disney kind of screwed over this movie. I feel bad for the animators who worked so many crazy hours to create such an incredible movie to have it be straight released on Disney Plus. I mean, that's kind of like a slap in the face. I know that if I spent that many hours pouring my heart and soul into a project, just for it not to really get the same respect and appreciation that the other Disney and Pixar movies do, I would be pissed! And I'm still mad for the animators. They should have a proper release. But moving on about how Disney screwed over Turning Red, this movie is all about mother and daughter relationships. And especially about how generational trauma affects people. I swear, that's like a hot topic right now. After Encanto was released, I feel like I've seen a bunch of videos about generational trauma. And May's mom just wanted May to be perfect and to kind of atone for how she was treated when she was younger. And May wants to be perfect for her mom for the validation. And it's kind of just like an endless cycle until someone finally addresses it. But I actually rewatched this movie with my mom, and it starts with the scene,
"Honor your parents."
And she turns to me and she's like, "Yeah, see, you need to be honoring me." And all I'm thinking in my head is, I've seen this movie before. Literally, it ends with her rebelling against her mom, which is just kind of funny. But I did really enjoy seeing their relationship go from a mom literally controlling every act of a daughter to them actually understanding each other instead of just someone who's controlling her life. And like I said earlier, May had to hide a completely different side of herself, but it's sad that she wasn't allowed to share it with her loved ones. And there's a reason why her mom wasn't the one she thought of to calm down as a panda. But I really did like their relationship mending. But overall, Turning Red was surprisingly a really good movie. And when I first saw it, I really did expect it to be bad because all of the reviews, but I loved it. And I really want to watch this movie with my middle school friends. I think it would be really funny. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. And if you guys want to see more of your favorite animated films and TV shows, make sure to subscribe and like the video. And make sure to follow me on Twitter. Okay, thanks, bye!